Emily come back to the next step? Or will she leave for good? Hi guys, welcome back. It's Speedy Hayley and I'm back for another video. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today in this video we're going to speak about Emily and how long she's been at the next step for, and whether she'll come back to help Nick or she'll get Michelle to help Nick. So, these are my theories and predictions. Obviously, you don't have to agree with them. It's fine if you don't agree with them. You don't have to watch the video, if you get what I mean. But I'm going to do the video anyway. So I'm just going to, because I was watching the next step, so I'm going to just pause that. So basically, Emily has been in the next step for quite a while now. She has been on the next step since season 1. Which means that she's been on it season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, season 6, season 7. She's been on it for 7 years. So that's a long, long time. Here are my theories why I don't think Emily will come back and help Nick. The first theory is because I think that, like she said, Nick is more than capable of doing it on his own. He just worries a lot sometimes. And that's just him, basically. That's just his character. He worries a lot. And I mean a lot. I have seen it. And I would never worry that much. It is far too much. He needs to calm down and understand that he knows what he's got to do. And he knows that he's got to pick a team for nationals. It's not that hard. But he runs around thinking it's so scary, it's so petrifying, and I absolutely love the character. It is hilarious, literally. I'm literally sat at home just laughing because of his character. It's actually hilarious. The character that he plays is hilarious. The way he worries, the way he overthinks things, the way he's like, I haven't made a big decision to make, but that's about to change. And I'm like, Nick, seriously, calm down. And you'll be fine. You just need to pick one team to go to nationals to represent the next step, basically. So, the second theory why I think that Emily will not come back is because she's now running a tour with Michelle, and she hasn't got time to keep coming back and forward from the next step, basically. She hasn't got time to do that. She's running the tour, she's running the business. She's built an empire from the ground up, literally, with Michelle. So Michelle is literally with all the dance stuff, and then Emily is literally with all the business stuff, and she takes care of all that. But yeah, and she takes care of all the tickets and stuff, and where they're going to be going and stuff like that. So it's exciting. But I definitely think that Emily's time at the next step is over, because she's been there for 7 years. It's time for her to leave, and it's time for her to move on. My third theory is because... Sorry guys, I sometimes do that because it gets really annoying. But yeah, my third theory is because now she's running the tour and stuff like that, she'll probably get Michelle to come back, so then she can help out and then explain to Nick about the challenge that they do before nationals, so then people that didn't win regionals can get on a winning team. But I have a feeling that even when that happens, I actually don't think the challenge will happen, because all of A-Troop, literally every single dancer that was there at the beginning of the trailer was there at the end of the trailer. So I don't understand how he's going to do the challenge, because if he was to do the challenge, then there'd be a lot more dancers on A-Troop. There'd be completely different dancers. But every single one of the dancers, apart from Presley or someone else, are on that team. But they still have B Troop and they still have A Troop. So I feel like some of B Troop will go to A Troop. And yeah, but all A Troop are still there. They're all there at the end of the trailer. So I definitely think if they do the challenge, they all get through and they don't get cut. So that's amazing. That makes me happy because I was very, very nervous to find out that they were doing the challenge because it's a big thing to do. You do that challenge and your team could be changed for good, literally. So you very have to be careful. You have to, your spot is on the line at an amazing dance studio to go to nationals. If you don't keep that spot, you are out. You are cut. That is it. No retries. No trying again. That is it. You are out. Cut from the studio. That is it. You'll have to go to either B Troop or J Troop. Obviously go to B Troop because obviously you're older. So the older ones go to B Troop. If they've been cut from A Troop. But B Troop has actually changed quite a lot. There's a lot more scenes in season 7 of B Troop than there was ever before. And I feel like they're a much stronger team. But yeah. So let's talk about Theory 4. So Theory 4, I feel like if Emily was to come back, she'd probably come back just to check on A Troop, and that's it. Nothing else. She'll check on A Troop, she'll walk back out, basically. That's it, really. Just say a proper goodbye. A lot of people are saying that she's probably going to come back to say a proper goodbye to A Troop, like they did with Michelle. But I don't think that is going to happen. Nothing in the trailer shows where they say a goodbye to Emily. So that's not going to happen. So I'm going to say it now. It probably won't happen. So I won't get your hopes up because it's not going to happen. Theory 5. Theory 5 is that I feel like when Nick is deciding who should go to nationals, I feel like when Michelle helps him and says about the challenge, he will take on the challenge, but most of A Troop will get in, which means that some of B Troop will get in as well. Like, I know most of the dancers are already still on A Troop. So I don't know whether they're doing a cut. I think the challenge might be set, but then again, it might not happen. It might just be a merge. I feel like I think I'd rather than merge B Troop and A Troop than it was when it was Elite and the next step merge for internationals. No. I was all against that immediately. I was like, that is such a bad idea. They have been their sworn enemies forever. Literally. Since season 1, they were their sworn enemies. And then in the 3rd season, the 3rd year, they decide, oh, we're going to take on the next step once and for all. And I was like, what? But I definitely don't think that... And one thing that I definitely don't think should happen is, I don't know why I think this will happen, Aqua Nation will merge with B Troop. I really hope they don't. Because if they do, that means the next step will have to go against B Troop in nationals. So, yeah. So that's just a little clue for the next video. Theory 6 is that I feel like Rochelle, when she becomes dance captain, obviously she starts to do her own dances. Gets all the dances done for season 8 and for nationals, basically, for Absolute Dance. I feel like she will do whatever she can in her power to make sure A Troop goes to nationals. Which means that B Troop has a downfall. Because I feel like Jude, I'm going to tell you some theories now, guys, but please don't like my predictions on what will happen. So when they do the challenge, I feel like Nick will tell them and everything like that, blah, blah, blah. He'll tell them about what is about to happen and what they're going up against and whether they definitely want to do it. And then Cleo will be like, this is going to be harder than I thought. Because Jude can't keep up with the choreo because of her dyslexia. So I feel like they'll bring that back. Because it's a thingy in someone and it can definitely throw them off the game very quickly because it takes them a much longer time to learn choreo. And in the challenge, I'm sure you only get about 30 minutes to learn the choreo. I can tell you right now, Jude will not learn the choreo in 30 minutes. It's just not possible. She has dyslexia. So in the dyslexia, it's so much harder to perform and pick up choreo. Because I pick up choreo really, really fast. Like, when I do my own dancing and do my self-taught dancing and everything like that, I pick up my own choreo so fast. Like, when I go to my own studio, when I go to my new studio and everything like that, I'll be able to pick it up so quick. They'll be dead shocked because I can literally pick it up so fast. Whereas people with dyslexia find it a lot harder to pick up choreo. So it can definitely put them on a downfall, which means that their dream of going to nationals could be over immediately. So I feel like Jude will try her best and she might get on A Troop. But then again, I don't know. But we'll just have to wait and see. It's not long now, guys. It's literally 8 days till the next step, season 8. It is next Monday, which I am so excited about. I cannot wait. Because I'll come home from college and I'll be ready to watch the next step. It's on at 6:35. I don't know how long it's on for. I think it's on for an hour and some minutes. Because obviously normally the first episode is quite long. Yeah, the first episode of every season is normally so much longer than like the rest of the episodes. So I reckon the other episodes will be like 21 minutes or something like that, like they normally do it. But I feel like the first episode will be up to like an hour or 47 minutes or something like that. So we get a proper concept of what's going on, basically. Theory 7. My theory 7 is that I feel like if Jude does get on the team, she then has to work 1,000 times harder because the team is relying on her to get the choreo and to not mess up at nationals. Guys, this is a big thing here. It's not a spoiler alert because I don't exactly know what's going to happen. But I've got a feeling this will happen. Are you ready, guys? I think that Jude is going to mess up at nationals because she wouldn't have got the choreo in time because nationals, where even when it first starts the season, they'll be literally working on the dances 24/7. You have to work on the dances for nationals 24/7. If you don't, the dance could be terrible, literally, and you could not even get through the first round. And it's an elimination round every round, which means that at nationals, there are 6 categories. There are female soloists, in other words, male soloists, then it's small group, then it's duets, then it's female soloist, then it's semi-final and final. So there's 6 rounds at nationals. Now I don't know why, but I have a feeling they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger again. And I feel like when they get to the last episode, I feel like nationals won't be over. I feel like it'll just be on like the semi-finals and then it will finish. And then I'll be literally so annoyed because I'll be literally like, will season 9 come out? I don't know why, but I don't know whether that will happen. Because I actually don't want that to happen. I would rather them finish National and then find out what everybody's thinking of doing next, basically. Now, I feel like if they do a season 9, and I feel like there will be a season 9, but A-Troop will be completely different. Like, I feel like some of them will come back and some of them will have left for good. There'll be no returns and there'll be no saying hello. It'll be gone. They'll be gone for good. So I definitely think that these are my predictions of whether I feel like Nick will continue to be studio head. So there's 2 parts to this. So the first one was whether I think, what did I say now? I think I said, will Nick will Emily return to A-Troop and help Nick, basically? So that's the first part. And then the second part is whether Nick will continue to be studio head. Now, the theories just keep going on. So this is an extra 5 and then the video is finished. So the 6th theory, the 5th theory I mean, is that I feel like when Nick is like still studio head, he starts to realise that there's other things and other opportunities for him to do out in the world, basically, in Toronto. And I feel like he will want to move on, like Rochelle. But then again, I really don't know whether Rochelle or Nick will leave. Because in the series and in the trailer, I couldn't tell whether Rochelle was thinking of leaving. Because it was like it was her first love. And the thing that really annoyed me was because I couldn't see anything of Nationals. And I was like, what is going on? But I really, really, really hope that they don't do what they did in season 7. Make people wait even longer for the next part of the series. I want it to be a full series in the full. Because I just don't like it when they're doing that, because it annoys me, because I just want to see the whole of the series. I don't want them to make it even more worse by making people wait even longer to hear the next part of the series. I want it to be literally a full series 8 from episode 1 to episode 26. I don't want it to be any, like, where it goes from 1 to 10 and then 10 to 26. I don't want it to do that. I want it to be 1 to 26 episodes. I don't want it to be where it's season 8 B A and then season 8 B. I just don't like it. I hate it, because that means we have to wait even longer for the next part of the series to go out. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, guys, that it's not a season 8 A and B. So, now we've discussed that, now it's time to speak about the theory 7 of why I think little Nick will think about leaving. Even though Nick's only been in, like, season 7, he only came in season 7 because he bought the studio, and Emily couldn't afford to buy the studio on her own because Michelle bailed, basically. So Nick stepped in, and now he's the full-on studio owner. So basically, they don't have no more studio head, and they don't have, they only have a studio owner, which means it's one person running the whole studio. And I feel like that is so hard. I definitely feel for Nick, literally. He's going to find it so hard. But I think he worries a little bit too much. And I think if his character was to die down in season 8, I'd probably like that. It'd probably be a lot better. Because then it would show him maturing and being more in his episodes, basically, because he worries a lot. And I mean a lot. Literally, in season 7, he was worrying so much when Rochelle went off to be a female soloist. To do the solo at Dance Mania in season 7. So I feel like he worried way too much then. Theory 8 is, I feel like when he realises that he's thinking of leaving, he then gets this amazing opportunity to judge on the reality TV show. Now, if you guys are thinking that this is Dance Mania, it's actually not. I don't know why, but I feel like they're gonna bring Canadian Got Talent into it. Because it is a thing. And I do think Nick would be an amazing judge on it. So obviously he has till the end of the week to decide. So obviously Michelle had to the end till lunchtime, and then literally Nick's gonna have till the end of the week. So he has quite a bit of time to spare and to understand and to properly think about his decision. So obviously, throughout the episodes, Nick has a really hard time deciding whether he thinks he should move on with the next step and go and think it the reality TV show, like what Kate did in season 4. What I didn't get about season 4 is that I'm sorry, all you Giley fans and right thingy, but Riley was not ready to run the studio. I just felt for her so much, literally. It was so hard for her. She had so much to do regionals, and she had to make sure everything was perfect, and she found it so hard. And I feel like that was just too much for her. But when she literally took away the studio head thing, she felt so much better. Like, so much better. So I feel like she definitely was ready to move on from that because she literally lost. And I feel so sorry for her, and I actually do agree with what Alicia said. I definitely think Mock and Griana, definitely. Because literally, Mock and Griana, wow, I cannot believe you're on the next step. That is absolutely amazing. Congratulations. But yeah, I definitely think that she just couldn't do it. So I feel like when that happened, when Kate took him on, which means that Nick will have to choose someone else to be studio head instead of studio owner. Because if the studio owner's not there, then the studio head takes over, basically. But he still owns the studio, but the studio head does more, basically. They have to figure out about, like, nationals, everything like that. So, then, the day before he has to decide... This is so cringe, guys. I feel like Nick will start to get the hang of, like, dancing. I don't know why, but I just feel like he will try and do what the dancers do by dancing it out. And to actually be honest, I cannot believe I'm saying this, like, guys, I don't know what the heck's going on in my eyebrows. Sorry about that, guys. To actually be honest, I feel like he will literally, he will be so different, and I feel like the dancing will be completely different to the rest of the dancers. I feel like there'd be no contemporary, no hip hop, no tap, no jazz, and no acro. I feel like it'll just be like an old person's dance. It's kind of really funny, guys. But in the end, it actually looks really good. And he puts emotion into the dance as well. But that's just my theory. So I really don't know whether that's actually going to happen. If it does, I'll probably be a bit cringed out because, no offence, but Nick can't dance to save his life, basically. But yeah, I definitely think that he will then decide on the Friday, and I don't know why, but I feel like Maria will then own Canadian Got Talent. I don't know why. I just feel like she would never do, even though, in fact, no, she would, like, buy nationals, because that's the kind of person she is. She would do anything to destroy the next step, just like Lucien did in season 3. And basically, literally, nearly, his one goal was to take down the next step. And he nearly succeeded by going to internationals and becoming a judge. I really, 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 really hope we do not have another one of them where Maria becomes a judge. If Maria was to become a judge in nationals, there is absolutely no way on this earth the next step would win. It's just not going to happen. It won't happen. Because Maria is just wants to, she's like Lucien. She wants to take down the next step after what they did to her in season 13 of Dance Mania. Obviously, it's not actually been going for 13 seasons, sadly to say, but it was just a show that was to make it look like Canadian Got Talent, basically. So I feel like she'll buy Canadian Got Talent, then she'll ask Nick to be a judge with her, which means that she will own the panel, basically, which means Nick will have to do everything that she says and everything like that, because she will own the complete entire show. Dance Mania, I don't really know. But now here comes the juicy bit. When it was 5 years down the line, and it was called what they would be doing 5 years down the line, in COVID time, basically. And Piper was part of the Absolute Dance, which means that she had to do all the calls and everything like that. Then Amy was part of Summer's show. So she had to so it's basically like Emily and Michelle's tour, basically. So it was like that. So she had to do all that. So she had to figure out all the shows and stuff like that and do all the business stuff, make sure tickets were sold out and stuff like that. And then Noah, he went into this amazing musical, and so did Rochelle because she got in as well. And then they got engaged, which was a bit like, what? Like, I've always wanted this to happen. But sadly, then obviously, when the season was on studio downtime, which is basically lockdown, I feel like Noah and Michelle just couldn't cope anymore because they found it so hard. They were at completely different things in their life. And Malice Everlake, because obviously this was out of the season, Malice Everlake just couldn't take it anymore because he couldn't do it. He couldn't form a relationship whilst they were at completely different things in their life. So, now to the last two theories of why I think Nick will leave. So then, obviously, it comes to the last day where he has to decide, and then, before you know it, it's the end of the day. So then Maria comes into the building when everyone's gone home and asks Nick, what is your decision? I need to know. And I cannot believe Nick says this. And Maria says, are you ready to join me on one of the best shows in Canada? And he says, I cannot believe he says it. He says yes. So that means then Maria says, because you own the studio, you need to pick a studio head. So then she said, the show doesn't start for 2 weeks, so you have around a week and a half to decide who you want to be the studio head. But make sure you get back to me and let me know who your studio head is, so then we know what to do, basically. I don't know why she says that, because it's Canadian Got Talent. They're competing in nationals, not Canadian Got Talent. So I feel like there's still going to be some way where Maria will take down the next step. Even though I really don't want her to, I just really wanted to leave the next step alone. She's done enough stuff to it, and she really does not have no more right to do anything else to it. But everyone knows Maria, and we all know what she's capable of. So we'll just have to wait and see. So then, obviously, Emily. So the last theory for Emily is that Nick and everything like that will really want Emily to come back. And Emily will be like, no, we're not. We're not coming back. We're doing our tour. We're in wherever, LA, Las Vegas, wherever in the world. And I'm not coming back. Me and Michelle both know that you are capable of doing this. And you will figure out a team. There always is a way. That's what she says. And then she puts the phone down. And then Nick really does start to realise that it is time for him to choose the studio head. So on the Wednesday, which is basically the half of the week, which means that he has another 6 days to decide, he then brings Kenzie, Amy, and I don't know why, but Presley. And then for the boys, Ozzy, Kingston, and Heathcliff. So we have Presley, Kenzie, and so you have Presley, Kenzie, and Amy, and then we have the boys Ozzy, Kingston, and Heathcliff. So then Nick explains to them that he's been fingered into this reality TV show, but doesn't say anything about Maria, because if he was to say anything about Maria, everyone would say, no, you are not going nowhere. You are with us, and you are not going to Maria, because I know what they'd be like. They'd be like, she's our rival enemy, and she nearly took down the next step, so we're not letting you go. So I feel like he would explain to them that he's been put into this reality TV show, but wouldn't say anything about Maria. And then when he says that, he's then like, okay, I need a new studio head. So then the girls are really excited, and the boys are excited as well, apart from Ozzy. Because I feel like Ozzy really doesn't know what he wants to do yet, and his character hasn't grown yet to where he wants to be, and to where he really does realise that he's grown out, he's grew out of the next step, basically. So I really feel like he will try and dance it out, and it will help. It will definitely help a lot. And he realises that I'm actually really excited. This is a dream come true. But at first he doesn't think it's a dream come true because he knows that he wants to do more in a troupe. But he knows that if he becomes studio head, then he can't do that. But here's the catch. So because there's one girl and one boy, it doesn't mean that there's going to be one girl and one boy running the studio. Which means they then battle. Joking, they don't battle. I feel like Nick will then decide who he thinks should own the studio together. So there'll be two people obviously not owning the studio, but there'll be studio heads. And which means that everyone's place is not safe. If they think their spot is safe, then they've got another thing come in, because I feel like they would definitely want to do it, but he will find it really hard. But then this is where the catch comes in. Once he realises that he needs to choose, so he goes through them all and he sees who the most people he thinks will take them to nationals. And after that, I feel like he then decides on... I don't know why, but I feel like he will either do 2 or 4. I really think 4 is far too many, because some of them still want to dance. So, yeah. So, definitely feel like... So I definitely feel like that when he will then choose... Sorry guys, I just got a bit distracted then. That was the door. So then he decides on between Ozzy, Amy, Kenzie, and Heathcliff. I feel like he will take Presley and Presley and Kingston away, because he wants them to develop as dancers, and he feel like between Amy, Kenzie, Ozzy and Heathcliff are ready for the role. So then he decides on who he thinks is the most capable of running the studio. So he decides on what their weaknesses are, their strengths, and then he comes to a decision. And the decision is that he puts Kenzie and Amy in charge. Just like when Michelle and Emily was thinking. But I then think to myself, what if 2 men basically ran the studio? Because that has never happened before. And I feel like that would be great if it did happen. Because I wonder whether they'd be able to take them to greatness. So I definitely think that Amy and Thingy are ready to move on from the next step and to move on from being a dancer to run the studio. So then, obviously, Ozzy and Kingston and Heathcliff are heartbroken. But he then decides on who should be the male soloist. And then, when they decide on who's going to be the male soloist, the 3 dancers that didn't get to become studio head then managed to be, then got chosen to be a male soloist, and all 3 of them, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but Pete as well, all got the small group. So there was 4 of them. Ozzy, Heathcliff, Kingston, and Pete. They all got the small group. So they were so happy. They were like, this was much better than getting studio head. And they got told they'd be in the semi-final routine and the final routine. And they also got told they would have a chance of getting the duet. Now, in my opinion, I feel like Rochelle's eyes is on that duet. I feel like she'll want it a lot with Ozzy. But at the end of the series, like I said, when Chad and Rochelle dance, she sees a completely different light. And she can't think. She's confused, basically. So because she's confused, she'll then decide whether she wants to be with Ozzy or Chad. And then, I don't know what could happen. But they are my theories. And guys, as you can tell, I literally was thinking about it all night and I was doing scripts. So I've done scripts and I've done scripts in my head and that's how I remember it all. And I cannot believe I've done no stuttering, so it's amazing. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. And hopefully, Nick won't leave. Obviously, in the character then, what I was playing and what I was explaining to you guys is that I just say what my theories are. But it doesn't mean that I actually think that he will leave. Because I don't think he should. I feel like Amy and Fingy's dance as studio head would be really difficult. And they'd find it difficult at first. But they could do well as well. So you never know. I don't want to underestimate them. But I'm gonna go. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.